Welcome to the stream, everybody. Hope you're having a good Friday morning. Excited to talk with you today. We're just going to do a quick audio check, make sure we sound pretty good. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Hope you're having a good... Okay, pretty decent audio check. Pretty happy with that. I think we're going to do a smidge up. There we go. And then that way we have a little bit better background music. All right. So my name is Richard. I go by UltraByRich online. So if you've ever seen me or any of my finger pointing ads, that's me. I am hosting a free workshop today. So everything you're going to learn today is created by me. I've run my own agency for the last 2 decades. Not only have I built my own brands from zero to millions of dollars, I've done it professionally. I've helped everybody from a mom and pop shop all the way up to a Fortune 500 company like a Costco or a Napa. Anyways, excited to talk with you today on some exciting tips and tricks. So first and foremost, welcome. Again, my name is Richard. I've been doing this for 2+ decades. I've founded multiple successful companies and had multiple successful exits. I've generated over $100 million in revenue for not only my clients, but also e-commerce businesses that I've owned and operated. And I've helped over 100,000 purchases across all of my clientele. We are based in Salt Lake City, Utah, Draper, Utah. And I'm literally obsessed with not only helping my business grow, but helping others. So, quick 3 rules before we jump in here. I want you to say hi in the chat. I don't care if I'm middle of the sentence. Definitely come in, say what's up. I'm not going to be mad about that, okay? Second thing, make sure your notifications are on so you can catch this stream each week. This is our 2nd week. So we're building some of that excitement and momentum. I think we had over 700 people come to our last stream. And so we're excited to keep growing this as time goes on. So definitely welcoming of all. We're not here to talk over your head. As you can see, 0 hard words today. All right. Next thing is I do have a workshop guide that you can download on my website. And this actually pairs with everything we're talking about today. So very helpful for post meeting. Anyways, here's a quick overview of what we'll be covering today. Obviously, we're just going through the welcome and intro now, but we'll be headed over into a very basic understanding of like what ads are, how they work, etc. And then we'll jump over to how to scale said ads. And then we'll talk through 5 tips to scale faster. And then we'll talk through some mistakes to avoid when creating your ads. And then we'll have a little Q&A and a free gift at the end of the session for those that are still here. All right. First and foremost, the big idea for today: start small, go big. You don't want to waste all of your budget on the front side until you have some good data to push. So this theory is tried and true. Very much in the case for your brands that are maybe don't have a big budget, you can add a 0 to any of these budgets to scale them up or down. So if you wanted to start at $5 a day or $50 a day, that's your good benchmark. Just if your budget can't accommodate $50 a day for the next 2 to 3 months without any sales, you probably don't want to start there. You probably want to start at 5. So again, the idea is to scale and scale with data and scale with budget. So again, growing ads, scale it smart, big revenue. Now we have the revenue to justify the higher ad spend. And then that's where you will go up past 50, 100, 150. Could be thousands depending on your product or niche a day once you get right. So what are ads? Hey, look, this is an awesome thing I sell. So again, we've seen ads everywhere from billboards to like Times Square. Now they are inundating our social feeds on our mobile, right? You can't go anywhere on your phone without it literally showing you an ad in some form or capacity. Every single app has them. Whether you pay for access or not, you still are going to see them to some capacity. And so they are kind of magic if you look at it through a different lens here. You're reaching thousands of people you would never reach, and you're not having to do it organically. So these individuals could be on the other side of the planet if you're selling a product that's maybe digital and you can sell online, right? That's very lucrative. If you're maybe more regional, they could be asleep on the East Coast and you're just getting up on the West Coast, right? And again, those ads are always running. They're not like an organic strategy where once you push it out organically, it has its run and then it's done. There's really not much more gas in it after the organic post. Every now and again, you could get a viral one that'll get some momentum for multiple days, but you're really not getting the shining light for more than one day there, really. And now the issue is you're not even talking to your own audience. You're seeing a lot of the platforms move audience reach to, if you're setting up your audiences when you're advertising, which is what we also do. So the joke is if you're not advertising, you're not being seen is very true in this case. So reach people while they're asleep. And then you get to show your product to people in your city or around the world. Like I said, if you have a local service, when people are in your local city looking for that, that's really helpful, right? Your product or service pops up. They have the opportunity to not only get familiar with who you are, but also maybe fill out a form or drop a comment, right? And then they have a chance to interact with your brand and or get a quote or invoice or whatever it may be for the next step, like an estimate. And then again, the magic is the ads are running 24/7. It's not an organic push where you see that little blitz and then it's dead. These ads are being made viral, in my opinion, and then they're being shown to people that are interested in your product or service. So what's wrong with that? Don't you feel like that would be the most powerful form of your content to be shown to people that would be interested in your product? And that's kind of what the advertising platform and algorithm is. All right. So you already know them, you just don't realize it, but even the kids on the corner selling lemonade are advertising, right? Nobody's going to pull up to a table and chairs unless there's a sign. So unless there's a sign that says for sale, aka their ad, you would never even pull over. So, kind of applying that principle to your online business now. A lot of people don't even advertise. So maybe, take a step back and be like, why am I not advertising? I should put my for sale sign in the ground. I can start with a lower budget, $5 a day. Why am I not doing that? All right. And then, of course, we've seen TV, and TV's transpired, the bulk of TV and successful TV, even like the Super Bowl, has all transpired from advertising. So you're still seeing the Toy Store TV commercial, whether you are paying streaming fees like a Hulu TV or even a YouTube TV, or even just your traditional like your Xfinity or Comcast. Those are still being advertised and displayed in a fashion to get people to buy their product or service to get them to come. And then, of course, you've got your social media, your Facebook posts. You're going to reach more people that are maybe more likely to engage with your product or brand, especially when it's in the algorithm. All right, so every great ad has 3 easy parts. So if you stick to these key points when you create your ad, you will have very strong results out of the gates. The truth is, you're going to be shooting, if you're lucky, you're going to be shooting 70, 80, 90% losses, right? You're only going to hit 1 out of every 10, 2 out of every 10, 3 out of every 10. So you've got to get really good at the concept of learning different angles. And again, you're testing this persona versus that persona. They're not the same people. They're not going to react to the same ad. So don't be afraid to try those 3, multiple angles from a different lens of your customer. And of course, it's hard when it's your own product or service to know your customer, but we'll go through some strategies on how to create your ideal customer profile, and then how to advertise and market to them better. But the first thing's obviously eye-catching, right? You've got 1 second, maybe 2 if you're lucky, to visually excite not only with graphics, but audio. And then you also have a split second where people will look down between the actual media and the caption. So again, eye-catching will be very helpful here. Some of the newer influencers have even done just a title on the top portion of their video content that stays there the entire time. So immediately the visitor knows what's going on. Second of all is tell them why it's great in a friendly way, right? You got to remember, you don't want to be an ad. You want to just tell them like a friend about your business or your product or your service. So it's really helpful to be super friendly and almost helpful, okay? You don't need to tell them to buy it. You don't need to tell them to shop now. They get the point. If anything, like I said, do a soft close with a best friend, and then that's the best way. You just tell them about it. You're informational, you're educational, you're answering questions. If they want to buy it, they'll ask you, how do I buy this? And in social media, that's the buy now button. They'll tell you with their credit card. All right. So last and foremost is, don't put a learn more button if you're taking them to your product website, right? Set the stage a little bit better. Don't put a book now if you're taking them to a forum, right? Book now should be a calendar. A forum should be probably closer to a learn more or see details. And then obviously message me is a DM. It's very clear. I don't think you mess that one up, but make sure your call to action matches. And now with the 3 parts connected, you have something visually eye-catching in that first 1 to 2 seconds. Your message is strong depending on who you're targeting, and your call to action matches everything. All right. What makes a great ad versus a terrible ad? I think it's really important to highlight what not to do. That way you have a stronger pulse on how to create and iterate through your own creative and decide what works best for you and your brand. So obviously blurry or dark photos, that's a no-fly zone, right? We don't want it to be confusing or what that is. Now there is some guerrilla marketing that kind of plays into that, but that's the exception to this rule, so don't follow that. Blurry and dark, not allowed. Long wall of boring text, people are not going to read an essay. Short, quick, like I mentioned, even one line will work. If you don't have a clear message, nobody's going to be interested because now they're just confused of what you're even offering. If you don't have a button to click, aka you're not running an ad, then a content post is great, but unless there's a call to action, there's really nothing for them to do. And then if you're showing to the wrong audience, right? If it's a warmed up audience and they already know who you are and you show them a piece of content, that audience is more likely to react to that content. Whereas if they don't know you yet, it's got to be more of an introduction of why they should follow you, comment, like, subscribe, share, whatever. And then running forever with no sales. Iterate, iterate, iterate. Test, fail, rinse, repeat. If you're not trying multiples and you're not trying new angles and tactics, you're not doing it right. Sitting and hoping for sales is not going to happen. You will know because A, you'll start getting actual sales. People talk with their credit cards. So let's go to the other side of this now. Obviously a great ad. It's going to be very bright. People like emotions. They like people faces. They like smiles. So you can incorporate that. And it can be you, so it's not AI. Don't think that it has to be some glamored up model, male or female. It can be anybody, no matter what you look like, looks aside. But you with a smile, just talking really quick, and then a quick headline, that's going to go way further than any kind of AI image you could ever generate. Short and punchy will always win. We've had some of the best creative, 6 seconds long. And we really strive to get closer to 10. And ideally a through play is 15 seconds. So the real goal is 15. But hey, if you can make something short and sweet work, we do not discourage that. So again, we've sampled kind of those 3 benchmarks, 6, 10, and 15. And then you can see it's a different message. 6 seconds, something short, quick, in their face, react now. 10 and 15, you get a little bit more time to introduce a new topic or conversation and see how they react. So kind of use your messaging in the right place of your funnel. All right. Clear reason to buy. A lot of people like to say, do this, feature, feature, feature. So when you're writing your copy, make sure it's very clear what you want them to do. Don't add a lot of extra steps or confusion to the pie. Again, that goes back to your message. It shouldn't be multiple, like this feature, this feature, this feature, this advantage, this benefit, this benefit. No, it should be one singular goal per content piece. And then you can kind of see how that reacts. And because you only tested one, now you have a siloed event and you can gauge how it's working for you and your business. So great way to stay with a clear reason to buy or click. Strong button, obviously we talked about. Shop now, learn more. Using your own audience, whether they've interacted with your meta audiences like Facebook, Instagram, or they've interacted with your website audience with the page visit, that's going to get you better results. Why aren't you using that idea? Exactly. And then turn it off fast if it's not working, which is fine. Like, you don't want it to make assumptions that it is working or not working so fast. Audiences like Facebook, Instagram, you want to make sure that ultimately you're giving it enough time to grow, but then not long enough where, look, this is not working. So Meta likes to tell you 7 days. And that's okay for a weekly cadence once you get some structuring done. And we do that a lot in my full service package, where once we have some steady data, we'll be able to do it every 5 to 7 days. But for most people, you can really give it that 2 to 3 day sample time, especially in these starter budgets, and just kind of poke it to see what it does. All right. So the social advertising platforms have morphed. You know, Facebook and Instagram have truly become a premium destination for users now. And what that means is you've got a bigger audience there. It's not every day. So keep in mind, 3 billion searches a day on Google. That's real-time searches. So that volume could be more, right? Well, let's say only 2 billion people logged into Facebook and Instagram. So that's, again, you can kind of gauge where these values are for you and your business. A lot of times, we will start out with a Facebook, Instagram strategy first. For example, if you have like a home services business, HVAC, plumbing, electrician, that's a great example of where we can go run ads on Facebook and Instagram to generate leads and bring them into your business ecosystem and at least have a chance for you to call them, talk to them, email them. Whereas the search engine is very different, right? If they're going to Google Ads, then they're going to, I need a plumber, I need an electrician. So they're looking for you more specifically, which may help close them a lot faster. And so you can kind of see TikTok is also now getting some of that market share from social media, where these other platforms like Reddit, X, Pinterest, Snapchat, that are still trying to fight for a larger market share, but these are kind of remaining the top 3 options now. All right. So if anybody's in the chat, love to see what you sell. Tell me what you sell, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. We're going to talk a little bit more about how to scale your ads and make them grow. Like we talked about with a little bit start of a scaling budget. Think of it like watering a plant a little at a time. And the water in this case is going to be your budget. And a lot of times you'll see an ad work, you're going to want to give it a little bit more water to grow. I think it's a great analogy here, because ultimately once you get enough water in the pot, the plant will grow to a tree. In this case, it'll grow to a steady sales pipeline for your business, and you'll be able to make money off of that ad consistently now. And a lot of times if you do it right, you can set up your audiences so it is a golden content ad, which means that the content will never get stale because the audiences are doing an in and an out. Meaning as soon as you convert, you no longer see the ad. And then it's only targeting people that haven't converted. So it really curates a more cold audience. So you can see why this methodology works. So again, start small. You're in learning mode. Don't feel like you need to get out of this with more money, because you need to figure that out first. So if you're concerned of what to do there, I would just literally stay at $5 a day until you get the hang of it. And then once you do, you'll feel more confident to put a better budget in. But keep in mind, $10 over 30 days is still $300. So watch your budget. Protect your budget while you test ideas, exactly what I just said. Small tests give you big data with low risk. So again, multiple tests. So if you're running 3 or 4 tests, that could be 4 tests at $5 each. That's still $20 a day. So be aware of how many tests and the quantity of tests you're running. And you do not want to split those out to like $1 test, and make sure you do each objective at least $5. And then every expert started here. This is really humbling to remember. Like, we've all started at square one. Those that have excelled at this, myself included, we've spent 10,000 plus hours in this. If we're not good at it at this point, I'd be concerned. Whereas you may have just started and you're beating yourself up that you don't have all that experience to get it right out of the gate. So again, be easy on yourself, give it time, be consistent, start small. All right, let's see. So find what works. After 2 to 3 days, look at your ads, keep the winners, turn off the losers. Like I mentioned, you can work your way up to a 3 to 5 to 7 day cadence, but 2 to 3 days does give it enough time to really see what's going on. You're going to have very obvious signs of what a winner looks like. You'll have a lot of clicks, you'll have a lot of likes, you'll have a lot of comments, you'll have a lot of messages. You'll actually be making sales, and your cost per click feels low, meaning you'll have a lot of clicks to the site, and your CPC value could be, a few pennies if you're really doing it right. And again, that's all that says is your distribution of your ad got to more people for less price, and so your bang for your buck went a lot further. Whereas the other side, they had no clicks, not going well, spending money, no sales, very obvious. Very high cost. Let's say you're $5 a click. That's not working, especially if you're doing a $5 daily budget. You got to figure something else out. Try a different angle. And then nobody's engaging at all. On these lower budgets, you can't be as critical, but if they aren't seeing any engagement, like likes, not even comments, just likes, you're not seeing that, that is a good indicator that you need to change it out. All right, so what does it look like? You can kind of see a cadence here for how to scale up to $80 a day with a product or service, depending on your ad creative and your results. But let's just say it goes perfectly for 4 weeks straight. What does that look like? So on day 1, you would spend $5, and then day 2, $5, day 3, $5, and then day 4, let's say everything's looking good. Maybe we've even got a few sales. We're going to $10. And then same cadence all the way up to week 2. Let's say it's going really well. Day 13, now we're on day 14. Now we're adding $20. And then same thing, week 3, we're adding $40. And then by the end of the month, we're adding $80. And that's assuming it passed all the milestones and we didn't have to make any changes along the way. A lot of times you may get up to the $10 a day and it starts to choke out. So you have to figure out some new angles. And then you get up to the $20 a day and it starts to choke out. You have to get some new angles. So each of these kind of become an unlock that you're on the right path, but you're using that data to create the next set to test. So again, very methodical, step by step. And then there's not really a pullback. Once you go up to that budget because you have sales or clicks or whatever you're looking for objective wise, you never go back down. So I would, upgrade it to 10. I may stay at 10 longer, right? It may pass week 2, week 3 into 10, but that's a good example of like, you're not adding more money to chase it. So kind of make sure that each of these are a milestone for you. All right. So here's a visual example of what that looks like and what you should do. Obviously, if you're spending $10 a day and you're already getting 3 sales a day, take it and run. You're doing something great. Iterate, make a lot of versions of it, and test and test and test. Let's say you're going to $20 a day. You get 6 sales a day. Also, scale it. You're going to crush it. Now $40 a day, 12 sales a day. Scale it. Very obvious. $5 a day, 0 sales, 0 ROAS, turn it off. Now you can swap out the goal with sales, could be clicks, could be comments, could be impressions, whatever you're looking for to benchmark it. But keep in mind, if you're selling like a $10,000 product, your $5 daily budget's probably not going to go that far, right? I think your product's price also matters. So here's an example of a client that had a t-shirt. And we started with a lower budget. And we had some early success. We got 3 sales on a $10 daily. We duplicated the winner, upped it to $30 a day, and we started getting about 9 sales a day. So a good example of trying to find what works and then duplicating and iterating off of it and where you can get that fast. So the 3-step scaling system we've identified is to start small, 5 to 10 a day, learn before you spend, test ideas cheaply. Number 2, find what works. After 3 days, keep the winners, kill the losers, let the data decide, remove your opinion. Number 3, grow slowly. Add 20 to 30% more budget at a time. Duplicate your winners. You've got to test and iterate now. So 1, start small. 2, find what works. 3, grow slowly. All right. How we doing on time? Quick time check. I think we're doing great, actually. We're supposed to be about 30. We're at 28. Love it. Okay. So these are the top 5 tips to scale faster. Like we talked about, especially on the hook side, you want something bright. We talked a little bit about this, smiling faces. You want to make it very human. People need to visualize that your product is doing X, Y, and Z reaction. And a person, male or female, smiling instantly does that. Like we also mentioned, bright colors, having a visual that's not dull absolutely helps stand out. You've probably seen some of these older ads, but people used to run like the green, fluorescent green border. Like, look at me. Really cheesy, but it worked because it brought an eye visual to the entire creative. And then short videos like we talked about in that 6 to 10 to 15 second range. If you're like, what should I do? 5 to 15 works great. But what we actually use is 6, 10, 15. And then again, showing your product in action, showing somebody using it, somebody drinking it, somebody eating it, whatever the product may be, or if it's a supplement, somebody taking it. And again, your phone camera is enough. A lot of people are like, oh, I need an SLR, I need a video camera. No, you don't. Use your phone camera. You'll be totally fine. And if anything, it adds to that more authentic experience, especially if you consistently post and then they're getting familiar with your kitchen or wherever you're doing your posting. That can add a staple to your content. And a lot of times people like to always get in a different shot or different video. But I argue that, giving your audience some sort of like cozy feel of home, like I always film with this backdrop. So if you ever see any of my content, it's me, and you may have not know my name, but you've seen it before. Got this guy with the hat and a polo and the double R's. So again, creating a visual brand identity is helpful. So visual checklist, make sure they're a real person using your product. AI can get close. So if you find something AI, I'm not knocking it. If you like it and you want to test it, great. Let the data decide. But if it looks too fake, I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work. Text overlay with the key benefit immediately at the top so they kind of know what the video is about without even knowing you or the video yet. And keep in mind, a lot of people watch content without sound. So if you were to play all of your content without sound, do people understand? For us, we use a lot of captions. So everything we're releasing has a caption. So we're hedging that nobody has their audio on at all. And then if we're not using captions, we'll be using a stapler at the top. Again, bright background colors or a natural light, avoiding the dark and blurry blungy. Yeah, cluttered. You don't want a lot of things in here. I think it's really important to stress, especially business owners, we get really excited. We want to sell them all. We want to include it all. Single point creative. Do not be shoving more than one point in any of your creatives or your copy or your angles at all. So stay away from any clutter. Very minimalist. One at a time. And never more than one, right? Not even 2. 1. Like I mentioned, first 3 seconds are incredibly important. It's about 1 second, but first 3. If you don't want to keep watching after the first 3, show it to somebody. Be like, are they caught? And don't even show them the next part. Be like, would you keep watching? And they say, meh. Find a different angle. Get what excites them. And then again, you see this all the time, but there's products out there and there's no human element at all. They are just showing you, a 3D splash of it. Buy this product. It's like nobody's going to want to buy a product unless they know who and what it is. So keep that in mind. So I did bring this up earlier, but this is the literal slide for it. Talk like a friend. You do not want to, like I said, you don't want to tell them, buy this, shop now. They're going to get there on their own. If it's really that great of a product, you won't have to tell them anything. They'll be saying, here's my money. I want to buy it right now. So yeah, write like you're texting your best friend. So almost like, hey, check this out. I thought you might like it, XYZ. Tell them why you thought they would like it, why it might be a good fit for them. What problem does your product or service solve? Right? Now, if you're more on like a trendy new product, let's say it's a product you actually made or manufactured, that's a different angle than if you're a plumber, electrician, lawyer, med spa, right? So kind of figure out what you need to do to talk like a friend and then just hit that line constantly. And this is one of your many pieces of content. You could even have, a FAQ. What would my friend say? Make it into your content cycles. And I'd love to even do a piece on that. So we'll talk more about that maybe in the coming weeks. Yeah, hey, you're going to love these stickers. Super cute. They last forever. Ships in 2 days. Not our premium stickers do this. All right. So 5 simple rules for writing ad copy. These are great to just stay by. You're never going to get confused. You're going to love these stickers. And they're almost like parameters when I'm writing anything. I'm going through this checklist in my head. And so you really want to lead with the benefit. Like, what are you selling them immediately, but not in the salesy way? So don't tell me it's waterproof. Tell me I can stay dry all day. Sell me the solution of the product. And then ask a question your customer's thinking. Are you tired of sore feet? Do you need better shoes? Obviously you sell shoes, but that's the point. Ask them a question that is also the pain point. You want to create urgency. Last chance, last moment doesn't really work unless that audience is already warmed up and they have seen multiple ads from you already. And then this iteration is truly the last chance messaging. But other than that, you can usually move to an urgency. Shipping goes up Friday. You want to move it from a discount basis to like, this price is going to change. This is not necessarily on sale at this point, but it's going to go up. So if you want to lock in the lower price, you should get it. It creates a mental mind shift. Again, a lot of people like to write paragraphs. Nobody's reading your paragraphs. Keep it very short, 1 to 3 sentences max. To be honest, some of our best creative is 1 sentence. And because, again, we're testing that singular idea, we have 1 sentence to match the title, to match the headline, to match the landing page or the form. And it converts really well. People know exactly what they're converting for. They know what they're inquiring about. And we see a lot higher conversion when we do it that way. So definitely keep it short. And then give them a closing. Obviously, you don't need to say shop now if the call to action button right there says shop now. So be smart about your call to actions. Don't double call to action. But obviously make sure you do the right call to action like we talked about earlier. You want to make sure you have, shop now in the right spot if they're going to a product page. You want to have a book now if they're going to a calendar page. Or request more info if they're going to a lead form page. All right. Now we're going to show it to the right people. Don't show a dog toy to cat lovers. This is a great example. If you show anything dog lovers to a cat lover, they're like, what are you doing? Now there may be both that like, I like cats and dogs, so you might be okay. But to this day, that's still one of the best examples in advertising because you want to make sure that they like animals before you show them. So Loves Dog, female, 25 to 45, in Salt Lake City, and they do online shopping. A lot easier to target now. And honestly, we may not even select an age or gender or interest. We may use these as the actual basis for the creative. So we'd say, are you a woman in Salt Lake City that loves dogs and yoga? That would be our hook. So you can see we can get there without actually programming it in, and we can also get there by programming it in. So test the interest and test broad targeting and see which one works best for you. Sometimes, specifying the interest too much can hurt you. So good example to make sure you're showing it to the right people, but also in different methods. All right, so check your ads every day. This is a big one. A lot of times I catch people running an ad and they're like, well, I don't know what happened. It's just going. I did a really cheap budget, so I don't really care. Come on, you need to know your numbers every day. Log in, check on it, see what it's doing, make a decision. Are you cutting it? Are you keeping it? If you were to cut it tomorrow, what do you have ready to put in its place? So start thinking ahead of like, I need to be prepared of what I need content-wise if I do cut it. You got to have something to swap it out. Again, Meta's going to do better when you give it, what we do is a power of 3. So we'll put 3 creatives or 3 ideas against each other and they're all different, and we'll make Meta decide which one's the best. So if we're putting 3 of the same, that doesn't really help us. We don't get any information out of that. So very important to not only log in, but also make sure you're testing and splitting out methodically. Now, money spent, how much are they spending in the ads? How far has you gone on clicks? Have you gotten any sales? What is your cost per click? If you're not knowing these numbers, you don't know what's going to be a winning ad or not. So again, budget, clicks, sales, CPC. Very easy 4 metrics to go off. And guess what? You don't even need to know them, because once you run a few test ideas, you're going to see a high and a low for your brand. That's your benchmark. So you don't need to know a benchmark in the industry. You just need to know what's working for you and your brand. All right. I'd say be patient and keep learning. A lot of people give up after the first week and they end up wanting to hire my team and I get it. We have that door always open for you. But if you're going to stay on the do-it-yourself path, you have to be patient and you have to keep learning and testing. So give every new ad at least 7 days before judging it. You can turn it off, but then still test different angles around it. It doesn't mean it was a bad ad. It might have been a bad angle. So again, really challenge your thinking there. Test 1 raw thing each week, not 10. Again, when they're competing against there, that's when you are testing multiples at the same angle, but it's still in the same category. So kind of make sure your testing methodology makes sense. Even write it down if you need to say, I need to test this, this, and this. And then that way you can cross off what's working and what's not, and then compare them all at the end. But make sure you get at least 3 to 5 data sets to test against so you can make those decisions. And then you're looking for trends. You're not judging it on a 1-day result. If it had a banger day, obviously we're going to change our opinion a smidge on that. But generally we're looking for a 7-day consistency. What were our clicks? What were our sales? And then we're making a decision off of that. Because, a few of those days could have been terrible. A few of them could have been awesome. And then that averages out that like, hey, this is still worth keeping. Again, don't kill it too fast. Definitely stick to closer to that 3, 5, 7-day decision time. And then every bad ad teaches you something. So if you're turning off an ad and you're getting frustrated, you're looking at it way wrong. Like I already told you, you're going to lose 8 to 9 out of every 10 ads you run are going to be losers. So if you're not okay with the concept of just running crappy ads for a little while, you're not going to get there. So be okay with it. Accept that you're going to run a bad ad, but you're going to test that angle really good. And then guess what? You're going to get better at running the ads naturally because of that. So just stick with it. All right. So these 5 tips are your cheat sheet. And it's like we mentioned in the download you have, but it's also on there. But 1, happy pictures and videos. 2, talk like a friend. 3, target the right people. 4, check every day. 5, be patient and keep testing. So really important you stick to some of these cheat codes for your ads so that you can progress and grow a lot faster without running into some of these hurdles we've seen people mistake. Speaking of mistakes, let's go through them. Here's some 5 mistakes to avoid. Mistake 1 is spending all of your money. I hit on this earlier, I'm going to hit on it again. If you spend your entire budget in the first week, you didn't do anything. If your budget only is going to last a week, don't do it. You need to maybe stay on the organic side a little bit longer before you're running ads, and you save up some of your cash flow. So spending all your money on day 1's a bad idea. Stay in that $5 range if you're nervous about anything. And it's a daily max. So just hit $5 and hit save. That's it. Step 2. So if you're copying other people and you're copying them exactly, you got to keep in mind that worked for their audience and their offer, and their voice and their tone and their visuals and everything they're doing. You taking one piece out of it, even if it's plagiarism, remove the whole argument of you stole from me. Even if you did steal it and they were saying like, I don't even care, steal from me, you got it, whatever you want. It's not going to work because it's not you. Again, that is only working for them because they've got an entire content strategy around it, and it's one of the many pieces of content they're running to make it work for them. So learn from it instead of copying and pasting. Use it as an example to be inspired. Write it in your own voice that matches your own tone, your own product. Even if you're selling the same product, update it to match your style. And if you don't have a style, figure out what your style is so that you can tell people what it is. So a lot of times I'll catch people just running ads and they maybe had a sale or two that gave them the hope and then no other sales come. It's a bad ad. You need to move on. You got a little wins out of it. You need to look at the angles and the visuals you use to get those wins. And then you need to iterate on it, not keep it running. So check daily, turn losers off fast. As soon as you see some of those indicators that I've taught you how to look for, turn them off. Mistake number 4, getting upset when an ad fails. Like we just talked about, we are used to failing. If I can hit, 3 out of every 4 out of every 10, that would be amazing. And that's still a 50, 60, 70%. So newbies are hitting 90, so they're only getting 1 out of every 10. So again, a pro is not that far ahead of you. On some of our best campaigns, we've hit, maybe a 50 or 60%. We have 5 or 6 of the 10 ads do well. So that's where some of that expertise is really shining for us. For you, having that expectation out of the gates is ridiculous. So I would just try to get 1 to 2 ads working out of every 10. And then make sure, if it's 2 to 10, then that's 1 to 5. So out of every 5 ads you run, you need at least 1 working. So kind of come up with a system that works for you, your brand, your content, your tone, your voice, and then, implement that. And then ignoring your winning ads. I don't think most people do this, but it is important to highlight. You need to give them more budget if they're winning. A lot of people are like, oh, I got it. I'm going to incubate it. I'm going to keep it like this forever. Now, especially the lower budgets, that's not going to do you any good. You need to scale not only with budget, but reach. And more budget gives you more reach. So duplicate it, test against it, and scale. Like I said here, if you're not duplicating and scaling it, then it's not going to go anywhere, and you won't know what the next great creative is right behind it because you didn't even test it. So quick recap, the 5 mistakes to avoid: spending all of your money on day 1, copying others' ads exactly, leaving bad ads running, getting upset when first and fails, and ignoring winning ads. So give winners more budget. Every failure is valuable data. Killing losers after 3 to 5 days. Inspire them. Write your own. Start at $5 to $10 a day. Very basic. But again, these parameters will protect you, and you will avoid some of those newbie pitfalls that I've seen a lot of my clients mistake before getting into one of our full service packages. Okay. Yeah. And I've done this. I've already made the mistakes so you don't have to. That's why I'm here telling you about it. I've spent hundreds of dollars. We even had a test we ran yesterday. Spent $103, and it was a horrible ad. So you don't want to bet one on everything. We spend hundreds of dollars a day, so it wasn't our entire bet. And needless to say, it got cut, and we've gone a different direction. So we learned from it. So never bet everything on one ad. We had multiple other tests running that were very successful, and we were able to iterate off of those. And that was a real life example from yesterday. So you can see we're ramping up, and then once you get big, some of our ads will spend thousands of dollars a day. So eventually you get millions if you do it right. All right. Let's go through the Scale Your Ads checklist. So you'll get the link. I've already posted it up front, and I'll post it here again, but you have the download completely free. I made it so that you can use it and even print out to use when you're creating your ads. A lot of times people don't like to have a bunch of stuff pulled up when they're creating stuff. So I thought if you could download it, that would be a lot more helpful. So that'll be made available in the chat. And then I'd love to hear from you if you're in the chat now. What platforms are you looking for? How long should you run a test? What if I have a tiny budget? How do I know if my ad's working? It's a little bit more of a Q&A here. And a lot of times we're recommending our clients to start out with Meta, which will give you access to Facebook and Instagram. It has some of the best targeting tools we've seen out there. And there really hasn't been a business we've worked with that can't advertise on there and be successful. A lot of times I'd say some of the newer e-commerce brands get more mad about that because they don't have a runway for 6 to 12 months. They're usually trying to do a 1 month or 2 month runway. So kind of keep that in mind. Which platform's best also matches how much runway you have for your ad spend. If you're banking on trying to make thousands of dollars the first 30 days, this is not for you. You know what I mean? Advertising is consistency. And then a lot of times we're seeing results in that first 7 to 14 days. And then by day 30, we should have a very clear idea that this is working or not, but it's working. And then for us, we're trying to get profitable within 60 days so that by month 2, they're making a multiplier off of their advertising spend. So if they have a smaller budget, great. That's where you start 5 up. But then, eventually we're going up to 500 a day. We're trying to make sure that client is netting, tens of thousands of dollars if we can, depending on the product or service off of that. So you can see it's a multiplier off of your ad spend once you get going. And that's where it gets lucrative. We have some brands that can make 10x, 100x. But they didn't get there because they were just organically hanging out. They got there because they were advertising. So you don't necessarily always need a website to run ads, but it is a good idea to have a home base. And there's a lot of different tools out there that'll let you get a website or even a basic website done pretty cheap now. And then hosting it is probably your only ongoing cost. So if you can find a platform, like any of these subscription model platforms, they include the website for free. You just pay their monthly fee. So like a Square, a Shopify, you're just paying their monthly fee. They include hosting and they include the website. You just have to build it now. So kind of decide what you want to do there. So the biggest thing to do is what to do after today. You've got through the whole workshop. I want to give you clear paths of what to do for the next 4 weeks. So this week is you're making a small ad. Next week you're checking to see if it worked. And then the following week you're getting on this session again. You're letting me know how it went. And I'll be hosting free workshops every Friday. So I'd love to hear back on some feedback from y'all and see how it's going. So your first 7 days, step by step, you're going to pick your product and write your ad copy. Again, you want to talk like a friend. After you create your eye-catching picture or video, I recommend video if you can do it. Use your phone, talk out loud. And then day 3, you're going to launch it. Now you can cinch that up. A lot of times people are like, I'm going to pick my product, I'm going to shoot, I'm going to edit all in one day. And we do that, especially on our full service package. So if you want to do it, great. If not, it's okay to space it out. And day 3, launch your ads. Don't overthink it, just launch, get that starter budget going. And then day 4 to 6, kind of see how its results are, clicks, impressions, sales. And then day 7, you can see now you're deciding what's working, what's not, and you're getting ready to iterate again, right? So if this was 3 ad creatives and 3 angles, you're seeing which one won, and then you're going to add 2 more to the mix the following week. So very easy to get into a pattern of what to do and how to do it. So what real experts manage it? We can help. Good news is I do offer a full service package where we can go through your Meta ads, your Google ads, your TikTok ads, even your YouTube ads. And we run everything from creative, copy, to visuals, to video. If you don't have content, we will actually curate it to match your product or your service. We include daily management and optimizations. And we set up a direct Slack channel so that we can constantly communicate. And then obviously you have meeting access to me, Richard, our CEO. So really cool experience for our clients that are on the full service package. And like I mentioned, we have generated over $100 million in revenue. Our average client nets 3 to 5x off of their ad spend. So if they're spending $10,000, they're netting $30,000 to $50,000 a month. And then we have generated over 100,000 purchases now. So if you're looking to work with a team that's pretty serious about what they do and very methodical about their approach, I'd love to talk with you in your business. So keep this in mind. Scaling ads is like playing a game. You've got 1 hour into it. You need to get to 2 hours. You need to get to 10 hours. You need to get to 100 hours. And ultimately, you need to get up to 10,000 hours. But the truth is you need to find that sweet spot of what's working for you and your business to be successful. So is that 100 hours? You don't know yet. You got to go in and figure it out. If you're trying to do it yourself, that's going to be a very wild card for you. And this is why a lot of times people will want to hire me for their full service, is they don't want to guess and check with their own time and their money. They'd rather hire a professional, get their professional advice from day one, and we can speed up that process. Again, I'm speeding it up into 60 days. If you're doing it yourself, I've had some clients try to do it themselves for 6 to 12 months, and then they just give up. So keep in mind, you've already learned the 3 steps to scale. You've got 5 tips to scale faster, and you've got 5 mistakes to avoid. And be sure to use that guide that I made for you, and you can download it. Okay, just some feedback from our clients. And that's it. We made it. We got to the end. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next week.